Hi, and welcome to my library database management system developed using Python. Now I'm going to demonstrate how this works. You can always add data if you want. Let's assume, let's say it's a lecturer, and reference number and title, let's say it's a doctor, and the name of this doctor is Adewale. Right, maybe surname might be Thomas. Okay, now address, let's say 35 straight. Where is that? Let's say we'll show you Lagos. And PO box, let's say that. Oh no. Mobile number. Right. And the book. Let's say that's the ISBN number. And the title of the book, let's just call it Flight. Yeah, Flight, that's fine. And author. Let's say the author is Tommy later. Borrowed date. Let's make that today's date anyway. And date due. Let's say this is the date due. Can be on date 11th. And that would be how many days? Days on loan will be 10. Return late fine is £2. Okay, due date is due on every day, and that's the cost of the book. Right, so all you then need to do is just to click on add, and there, that's Dr. Adewale Thomas details there, and we can view his details right in here. Is there somewhere? Yeah, there we go, look at it. Okay, we can select and search for other library users. Okay, and we can also update if we want. Okay, like this guy now, you can just update his details to maybe Sally Jones, and that's title Maze, name is Tina Sally Jones, something like that. Address always goes, and there maybe London. Postcode and mobile number. Book, let's say it's a maths book. Cut that off. Maths book. Author Kings. Date 2019, and date due. Okay, and date due, let's make that. How many days would that be? That's 20. Dates to return the book. The fine will be £2. Date to return the book. Cost of this book there. And we can just click on update for that, and that's it there. Okay, we can also go back there and search for others, and we can delete. Let's look for any data to delete in here. Let's look for an inconsistent one. Look at that. There, gone. Okay, we can exit if we want, or stay put. So what I'm going to do now is to take you guys straight into Python development environment, and we'll put one of these together. Okay guys, let's start with the development of a new Python library project. So I'm going to start by entering from let's say tick enter. That's tick enter. We need to import all of the above. And the first thing I like to also do is I'm going to import the tick enter message box. There should be space here, so let's import. There will be tick enter dot message box. Right, that is done. Now let's start. I'm gonna give it, or let's create a class library. I'm gonna call it there. That's the name of my class. The next thing is I'm gonna define the following function: underscore init, and let's say self comma root, and close that, enter semicolon there. The next thing is we say root self dot root equals root itself, and let me define my title. Self dot root the title equals, I'm gonna call it library database management system. There, we need to close that really. Right there. Now the next thing is, what about my geometry? Let's say roots self dot root dot the following geometry. Yeah, so y there, and it's going to be 1350 by 750 plus 0 for the coordinate. Close that. Now I'm going to declare the next thing I want to do. This is very important. I'm going to declare my variables. This very first one is going to be member type. Okay, MTY means member type. I'm declaring it like that because of the database itself will be too long, so I'm just using abbreviation for all of this. The next one is going to be reference, and so on. So I'm going to have to speed that up right now. Alright guys, those are all my variables in place that I intend to use for this database project. So the next thing I'd like to do now, let's take it up so that you can see that. Right underneath here I'm going to create frames. That would be for my frames, and the first part of the frame, that's going to be the main frame. I'm going to call it main frame, and that main frame is going to be known as the widget is frame, and that is going to be resident inside self.root. Let's correct the spelling. Self.root, then main frame dot grid there. Now I'm going to also create a title frame, and this title frame widget is going to be frame as well, so it's going to be right inside the main frame. If you notice, main frame is inside the root, while the title frame is inside the main frame. As for the title frame, I'm going to add a little border of 2 equals 2, and enter a comma there. Let's get it padded to the left axis. I'm going to make that approximately 40, comma. Get it padded to the y axis, and make that 8, comma. Then BG color, background color, I'm going to make that candidate blue there. Now the next thing I intend to do is to get it raised as one of the attributes. Equals rigid. There, close the bracket. Now let's say title frame is going to be, copy that, paste it here, title frame dot path, and it's going to be right at the top. That should be uppercase. There you go. Alright, now the next thing is inside the title frame I'm going to create my widget for, let's say, self dot lbl title equals widget label, and label is going to be inside title frame, comma, let's say the font is going to be approximately, okay, let's go for area, and the size will be approximately maybe 46, comma, make that 46, and it should be bold. Close that. Now let's enter a comma there, and the text on it is going to be known as library management system or library database management system. Copy all of this, come right down here, paste. There we go. Now that is done. Let's add an S to that, close that. And the next thing is self dot lbl title dot grade. Let me say, I'm going to say strictly equals west. There. So that's one of the frames. So I'm going to speed up the rest of the frame and get back to you guys. Okay, all of the frames are in place now, so you can have a good look at it. I'm gonna take it down a little bit more so that you guys can see it. There we go. So before I continue, let's try out the system, but then I have to save it first. Let's say if name equals main column there, and let's say the root equals tk, and application equals library root. Then let's ask it main.loop. There we go. I'm going to save this as a library management system, then we take it from there. Let's say we go to file, save as. So this is going to be right inside. I'm not going to save it in here because I want to show you guys one or two things. So let's come in here, create a new folder, and I'm going to call it pi underscore YouTube library database. Okay, I'm going to save it inside a pi underscore YouTube library database. So give it a name. Let's just call it library database or library data. That's fine. Okay, click on save. There. Right. So I'm going to run it now. Okay, click on run, and let's see. There we go. That's how it looks like. You can see I have library membership information there, and the book details here. This is just another frame. Okay, there's an empty frame here that you guys will not be seeing, so let's close that. Now the next thing I want to do is to start developing my widget. Have a good look at these lines of code first. Okay. However, if you're a member of the channel, you will be entitled to these lines of code only for the members. Alright, now let's come right down here and add the rest widget there. There we go. This will be for labels and text widget. Labels and entry widget is called right there. Okay. Alright, I'm going to start by entering the first of the widgets. So I'm going to say self dot lbl member type equals label, and label is going to be right inside data. Okay, data frame left. Right, copy that, paste that in here. Right, and the font, let me copy font here. I'm going to make the font about 12. And what else do we need for this? Next thing we need, I'm going to say go for the text, and the text is going to be known as member type. Right, close that and get it padded. Pad to the left axis, x axis will be 2 and y axis will be 2 as well. And the next thing is, let's go for the background color. I'm going to come right down here, let's say BG. I'm going to make that candidate blue as well. Let's copy that and paste there, and that will be all for that. Let's say self.member dot grade. I'm going to enter that in row 0, column 0 of my frame, and let's say strictly equals west. Right. Okay, before I run this, let me correct some minor error here. There's supposed to be 0, and get rid of that. Yeah, and there should be an equals here. Okay, I think that's fine. Let's run it and see how that looks like. There we go, guys. Now I'm going to copy this and just change the widget of this there. I'm going to change the widget, the very widget, to entry, and let's make this txt, and this will be txt as well. Okay. Alright, the other thing I'll need to do is, let's change it so that I will understand. Okay then. Right, txt and type, and I need to get rid of this and change that to variable. Text variable equals my very first variable, that is known as mty, and that is it right up here, mty. Okay, bring it down. Mty will also be the name of my database. But let's keep going. Then the next thing is, I don't think I need this one, pattern. I don't even think it's part of the properties. Equals, let's say width is 25, and that will be all for here. Background color, no background color for that. Now position, that will be 1. Get rid of strictly west. Okay, I'm going to try this out, and I'll then speed it up, because all we're just doing is copying and pasting. There we go. Look at that. my label and my text. Now close that. Now all we just need to do now is copy and paste. Copy, paste, and change the details around. So if this is 0, this will be 1, and this will be 1 as well. So if I run it now, this is what you guys will see. You see that? So I'm gonna have to speed it up and get back to you shortly. Okay guys, I've finished up with the labels and the entering widgets. Okay, let's take it down so that you guys can see the lines of codes. There they are. I'll bring it down. I guess you can see it's all the same. All I've just changed is the names. All the changes mean are just the names. Okay, we're almost there now. Let's bring this down so that you can see the rest of it. Okay. However, if you're a member of the channel, all you have to do is to pay £4.99, and these codes will be yours. Alright, so I'm going to now run it and you guys see how it looks for now. There we go, that's how it's looking for now. So I'm going to close that. Let's come right in here. Right underneath here we add our list box. Let's copy that. Let's scroll right down here. Okay, so I'm just going to enter a list box here and a scroll bar. Alright, okay, let's start by defining as follows. So I'm going to call it scroll bar equals scroll bar. That is the name of the widget, so I'm just calling it scroll bar. If you notice, that's with lowercase, and the right name of the widget is scroll bar with uppercase. So that very widget is going to be resident right inside my data frame, but the data frame is called right data frame. There, let me show it to you here if you guys can still recall my frameworks. So it's going to be right in here. So let's move it down a little bit. Now the next thing is, for that particular one, let's say the scroll bar itself, we want it alone inside this very framework. So that's going to be row equals 0, comma, and column equals 0 as well. Let me make it 0, and let's say strictly equals ns. Okay, now the name of my list box, I'm going to call that book list. Book list, that's the name of my list box, and this very book list is a list box. That is the name of the widget, and this very list box is right inside this data as well. Okay, now I'm going to make this 1 because I'm going to make this 0. Okay, then right, then the width, let's make that 45. Height, I will make that 12 for now. And fonts, it's going to be 12 area as well. Copy paste that in there. Okay, So what else do I want? Let me say I want it to scroll right, to scroll vertical. I mean, command scroll vertical, scroll on the y-axis vertical, command equals y. That equals scroll bar dot set. All right, paste dot set, and we just need to close that now. There. Now what else do I need to do? I'm going to say book list dot grade equals this. Copy all of that, paste that here. But in this case, the column will be 0. Column 0, or this should be 0 as well. Let's know 0 there. Alright, and let's get it padded. Pad the x-axis to, let's make that 8. Alright, and we want to configure this very scroll bar to be right. Scroll bar dot configure as command equals, we'll just copy that, command equals book list, command equals book list dot y view. I think that should do it for the scroll bar. Okay, let's save it and then run it. Save. Oh, that's fine. Look at it. You see that, guys? That is the scroll bar, and that is my list box. Now everything is looking how I want it to be. Now the next thing is, let's add our buttons. Then we can start work on the back end of this database. Let's close that. We need to add buttons now. Let's just call this buttons. Alright, take it down a little bit. Now the first button I would like to add, let me say self dot btn add data. That's the name of the very first button, and the widget is called button. Okay, as for the button itself, it's going to be right inside the frame that I call button frame, and that is it on the frame area. Look at it, it's called button frame. So bring that right down. Now what else do we want on this button? The text content on the button, I'm just gonna call that, let's say add data. Right, and the font, I'll make that about 14. Paste that there. It's copied. Change that to 4. And what else do I have? The height. Let me say the height. The height, I'm going to make that maybe 2. And the width will be about 13. Equals 13. That's the width. And BkID equals 4. There's no command there yet. So let's position it. There we go. And grid equals row 0 and column equals 0. Right, that's my very first button. Right, let's correct this spelling here first. That's the very first button, so let's try it out and see how it's gonna look like. There we go, guys. Now close that. What I'm going to do now is copy paste and just change the rest around. need 2 more. There we go. Just need to change the content in there. This will be known as display data. Then this, let's call this clear data, and this one delete data, update data, search data, and finally exit. Now if this is 0, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, let's save and run. There we go. So all my buttons are in place, but it's advisable you guys actually give it a proper naming, just like I'm going to do now. I'm going to give it a proper name. So let me just copy this and name it accordingly. Alright, so change that. So update data. Oh, this should be updates, not add data. Add data. Yeah. Okay, this one will be btn update data, display data. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the same thing for all, and I'll get back to you guys. All I'm just doing is just giving the buttons proper names to be more professional, or to make it look more professional, I mean. So I'll do that and get back to you guys shortly. Alright, here are the names. Everything is now in place, and just to align it properly, I've also increased 1 or 2 of the width as well. So let's run it so that you guys see what I'm talking about. There we go. This is how it all looks for now. Okay, but none of these buttons do anything. Now let's make them do something. So close that. I will now start with the coding for the main thing before we start work on the back end of it. The back end is going to be the database itself. So let's copy this. I like to add border in between them, and this is going to be my function declaration. Right, something like that. Okay then. Let's get rid of that. The first function that I like to declare will be my exits. So I'm going to say define iExit equals that. And for your information, you see the exit itself, you can always use a shortcut, which I don't really like. You can just use root.exit. I don't want that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Or let's finish writing this. So that's the name of my exit. I will now call the exit and ask my message box, and that is the reason why I imported this very one here. So I'm going to call the Tit message box itself to prompt the user to confirm if they really want to exit. I've already copied that, paste. So Tit message box dot ask. Okay, ask the end user. That is it. No, it's going to be yes, ask yes, no. Yeah. So, and the name of my project, which is right here. Just going to copy all of that instead of retyping. Paste that here. There. Library database management system. Put a comma here. and my question is going to be confirm if you want to exit. So that's the question for my end user. Close that. I will now use an if statement to validate the selection made. I exit. If it's greater than 0, then root dot exit, root dot destroy, destroy. Add your parentheses there and just enter return, and that is it. That's all. That's it, coding for that. But you can always just copy that root alone, root dot destroy, and exit with that. The choice is yours, but I don't want that. So right here I'm going to enter command equals root dot destroy. I don't want that. Let me try that out. I read something that you can do that, but I see just don't like that. Let's see what happened here. Destroyed. Yeah, I think it's got to do with the parentheses. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Now let's try it again. Run. So if I click on that, look at what I'm talking about. It's not even asking the end user to confirm if they want to exit or not. I think that's a very poor way to write a program. So I'm going to copy this and just change that to the function I created there. Get rid of all of that. Enter that in there. So the command equals I exit. That's the function above. So let's run it and see. Click. You see that, guys. Confirm if you want to exit or not. No. So I'm still within the system. Mistake could have been made. No. Okay, then let's exit. Confirm if you want to exit. Yes. You see that? That's how it's meant to work. I think I prefer it that way. Now the next function I'm going to put together. So the next one is going to be clear data. So let's come right here. Dim. Clear data. There. And the very first one is going to be this very one here. Let's see. This one. Save.txt. Okay. There. So dot delete anything inside it, comma, end. There we go. Okay, that's to delete whatever content I have in there. So I'm going to repeat exactly the same thing for the rest. So I can just copy and paste and change it around. And this one is called BK. The next one is BK something. Let's check out the name. Yeah, that's the next one. Let's check those ones out. And what else do I have? Reference. Okay, all is ready now. So let's come right down here. I need the button clear, this very one here. Okay, I'm going to have to say command equals there. I have to just break it apart so that you guys can see what I'm about to do. Okay, let's run that and see what's going to happen. There we go, just enter whatever value in there. And here, so let's try that out. There we go. The clear is working. Close that. So two of the buttons are taken care of. So have a good look at those lines of codes. Now let's take care of another part of it. Maybe we should take care of add data. In the case of add data, we're going to have to start working on the back end and the front end as well. Okay, if I create my add database function, it's not going to do anything. Now let's say add data, and the data that I want to add, I'm going to say if len. Okay, now this brings us to the use of every single variables that I have in here. You see all these variables? That is my reason for making them very, very short, you know, because I need each of them, else it's going to be very long. So the very first one is len, whatever I have in here, dot get, and if there's nothing, equals 0. Enter parentheses. Now the other thing is I need to create a database, which I don't have yet. However, the name of my database, let's make that up. Library, let's say books database. That's going to be the name of my database. Okay, so I'm going to ask it to add something. Okay, what is it going to add? Maybe we can say add data record. So add data record is going to be the name of the function on my database there. So I'm going to say m.get my member type dot get, comma, the next one is going to be reference dot get. I'm now calling the names of every single variables that I have up here. That's what I'm calling now. The next one is going to be title, followed by first name, surname, and so on. And then comma, title dot get, then comma, first name dot get, comma, surname dot get, and so on. So I'm going to have to speed this up because it's going to take some time putting them together, and I'll get back to you guys shortly. Okay guys, this is how it all looks now. I even had to break this one apart so that you guys can see it all. There we go. Alright, if we run it now, it's going to give us an error. In the first place, I haven't called this. Okay, and I don't even have my database in place. This is my database. But before I do any other thing, I'm going to import this very database that is yet to be created. Let me come up here. Now I'm going to say import the following. That is my database that I intend to create now. Okay, I might as well open up a new page. File, new. Okay, and I'm going to save this as my database. Save as there. So let's save that. That is the database I have called, but there's nothing in there. But the first thing I'm going to do is to import SQLite 3 there. Now I'm going to now define, and let's say function. I will call that connect data or connect. Okay, let's say connect data. Function connect data, And what do you want me to connect? I would like you to connect as follows. So let's go for connect SQLite 3 dot connect the following. I'm going to make up my own, so library book dot data there. Okay, now the current is going to be connect dot cursor, is to create the cursor for me, and I would like it to also execute. So let's say current dot cursor execute as follows. So we will now use SQL here. Let's say create, no, that should be in uppercase, create table, if not exist. So if the table does not exist, create the table, and the table name is library books. So that's the name of my table. So the next one is, I'm going to say ID. Let's open this so that you guys can see. ID is going to be in integer, so that would represent my primary key anyway. Primary key, comma. Now I now need to enter the name of all my variable. So that's going to be the name of my table. The first one is going to be text, comma. The next one is called reference. Text format as well. Then followed by that is the title. That's going to be in a text format as well. Then I have first name, text. Okay, I'm going to put a space there. Then I have surname. Surname and text as well. So I'm going to speed this up and get back to you guys shortly. Alright, so I had to break it up because of the space, but the other thing I can do is I can also reduce the size of this font so that you guys can see it, but it might be too small for some of you guys out there. You see that? So that's why I'm going to leave it as 14. I'll just leave it as 14. At the end of the day, you'll be able to see it much better. So let's say connection dot commit, and we will now want to also dot close there. So that is to create my database. Now let's close this as well. Copy that and come right down here, paste that. Now the next thing is, let's see if we can create the add function. And if you guys can still recollect the name of the add function, let's find that out. It's here somewhere. Let's move that. Add, there we go. That is it. Data, add data record. Okay. So we're going to start by calling that very function. So press enter, and that is define add data record. That is my function there, and inside this very function I need the tables, all of this information. Okay, Okay, I need them right in here. Alright, so I'm going to have to copy and delete some stuff. Okay, so let's start by copying as we go. Okay, let's copy all of this. Copy that, paste that here, and delete this. Delete the text. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the same thing for others. Copy and delete the text as well. So I'm going to speed that up and get back to you guys. Okay guys, like I've said, I had to speed that up. So the next thing I ask the SQL to do is to connect to my database. Okay, and in here I want this cursor to then execute the following to insert as follows inside the database. Here you will notice the value I said is null value, so which means that will be my primary key. Okay, to just give me an incremental number, and in here each of these, what value am I meant to enter, the just question mark, and here are the values. Okay, if I enter backspace and just there, those are the values that we meant to enter. The next thing is for you to commence the instruction. Conduct commence as required. Then I want it to close it as well. Dot close. There. That is for my database. So let's go to file and save. Now the database itself is now created to add values, but what is left is, let's see if it's going to work. But one thing first, let me show you my file here. Double click on the file. You see there's no database in here. So if I run this program, hopefully that should show up. So let's come in here and just click on run. Oh, first thing, let's make sure I've called my database, add database on the add button. This is the add button, it's not called yet. Let's see what is the name of that function, add data. Now let's come right down here. Okay, right here, comma, command equals that. Okay, save and run. Alright, there we go. Now let's just enter whatever in here first and see how that's going to work. Okay, I'm going to click on add. There we go. Look at that, guys. It works. I am very excited. It works. That is good. Okay, so it's working the way I want, and there. Okay, now to verify if that data, look at it, is created. That's my database created there. Okay, inside my file. Alright, so you guys now understand that. Now let's work on display data. So I'm going to close that, and I need inside my system itself, which is the front end. This is the front end where I have all of these components. If I run it again, show it to you guys. That's it. That's the front end, and the back end is the database. So let me open them both. Okay, here is my database itself, and here is the main system, which is the front end, the back end, and the front end. This is the front end. If I run the front end, you guys will see the whole interface. There we go. But the back end, there's nothing happening there, even if I run it. So the next thing I want to do now is to work on display data. Okay, I've worked on clear, I've worked on add data. So now let's work on display data. So let's start from here. Okay, so we're gonna call that display data. There we go. No column. And the data that I want to display, I would like them to be displayed on the list box and the text box as well. So I'm going to start by saying book list, and that is my list box, if you guys can still recall, which is right here. Let's go right down. Book list. There we go. Now take it down. Book list dot delete whatever we have in there, and everything is gone. So we now use a for loop. For row in my database, this very one, this very library database, copy that, paste that in here, dot view. There. Then we now say book list dot insert the rows. Copy that again, paste that in there. Book list dot insert to end of rows. There. But this very function will not work, not until I create something in here. Okay, so to do that, I call the function view. Let's call it view data here. View data. So I'm going to create a function here that is going to be called view data. So come right down here. View data. There. And my view data, what I want that to do is select from here, from the SQL itself. Okay, select from the SQLite.connect inside the database, and let's create the, I want the cursor. Then I also want it to execute, and for the execute I'm going to use selection statement there. That is going to be select everything from my database here, this very one. Copy and paste it right here. Okay, get rid of this one and close that. There. So we now need to say, okay, because I need to return everything as a table, so I'm going to have to say rows equals current dot fetch all. Okay, and there. So let's close, and I'm going to have to return the rows. There we go. Right. Okay, all we need to do now is to try it out. Well, wait a minute, this is wrong. Take that off. All I'm just doing is calling the table because I've already called it here anyway. So take off the .db, and here we need to call our function, this one, display data. So let's copy that, and let's come right down to button display. There we go, that's button display. There we say comma command here equals that. So we should be able to call. So let's make sure this is saved and this one is saved as well. Okay guys, so this is my view data, and this very view data here, this function view data, has been called inside display data. Look. Alright, so now let's run it and see. Okay, let's enter something meaningful here. And oh, member type. Let's say the member type is, let's say it's a lecturer, and reference title, let's say it's a doctor, and the name happens to be Edward. Surname Edward Godson. Address is the number 1 Kuwaiti town. And postcode. Mobile number. And the book is, let's say the book name is let's say just Maths, and no, book ID is Maths. The author is Paul Roman. Date borrowed, let's say that is today, 2019. And the book can be borrowed for, let's say, 10 days. 10 here. That's how much we have to pay if fine. And here, due date, cost of that very book. There. All we need to do is click on Add. There we go. And for us to be able to view all of the previous garbage that I enter, if I click on this, look at that guys, that is working. Look, this is the information of Dr. Eddie. You see that? That is working as expected. So I can clear this, add more data, and wherever I did not add anything should be left as no value at all. Okay, so let's click on add. There, that should give me number 14. Click and let's come right down to number 14. There we go, look at that. Okay, so clear is working, add is working, display works, this works, and delete, we ought to be able to delete anything from there. Update, search, and exit works. So we need 1, 2, 3 to work now because this works. Exit. Alright, so the next function is going to be, see, when I run this program, I would like to be able to, if I display all of this data and I double click on any of the data, I would like it to display all of those information here. So that's what I would like to do. So to achieve that, what I'm going to do is come right in here, right inside my system itself, not the backup, or not the back end. This is the back end. So let's just put it there, back end, and this is my front end. Okay, so right here, let's come in here, create another function. This very function, I'm going to call it select or selected books. Selected book. So let's have an event in there. Okay, for this selected book, I'm going to declare be a global variable, and I'll just call it S. That's my global variable there. Then I like you to search inside the books. So let's say search book equals book list. The book list is my list box dot current selection, and the parameter is 0 and Now SB itself, which means search book, SB equals book list dot get whatever I have inside search book here. There. Right, that is that. But there's one more thing. I'm going to have to call this inside my list box. So let's scroll right down, look for the list box. There we go. That's my list box there. So right inside the list box, I'm going to enter as follows. Maybe I should put it up here. So I'm going to say list box, I would like you to bind as follows, and do that. Or booklet dot bind, open a parameter, and what do you want me to bind? So let's say list box select. Close that. And where will the information come from? Right from there. And let's just close that, and hopefully that should work. Okay, now that I've called the function in here, one more thing that is meant to be done right inside our very function is we should also have called all of this text box. So I'm going to copy all of this, copy, come right down here, right inside the function, and paste. Now the next thing is I have to now give each of them a value. So this one is going to be known as, I'm going to copy this, self txt mtype dot insert, and that is going to be end comma sb, and the value is going to be value 1. Close that. That is the very first one. So the same thing will be repeated for the rest. So I'm going to copy these as well, come to the next one here, paste, and just change the name around. There, and this value will be 2. Right. Repeat the same thing for the next one. Undo that. Copy this. Paste, and then copy this very one. There, and this is 3. And so on. So I'll finish up with that and get back to you guys shortly. Okay. Function selected book. That is it, completed. So have a good look at the lines of codes there. You're gonna need that. There we go. Check it out. In total I have 18 columns there. And then you see this very function selected books was then called inside a list box here. There we go. Look at it. I bind it onto the list box. So when I double click on the list box, it should display every single component selected on the entry widget itself. Alright guys, we will now run it and you guys see what I'm talking about. The first thing I'll do is click to display all of my information. Look at that. Supposing we want to search for, get more details about Dr. Eddie here, just click on that. Look at it, Dr. Eddie. Okay, look at all of those information. Oh, this is wrong. this should be here and that should be here. Okay, that needs to be corrected anyway. Alright, but the system works the way we expect it to work. So I need to find out who is where, but it's working how we want. Right, that is it. That's not where it was meant to be. As you can see, BkID is in the wrong place. First name should be there, so let's change that to cut that off. First name and first name here. And BkID will be where we have first name. Alright, it's just minor errors that needs to be taken care of. In any case, that is how it works. Okay, the correction has been dealt with and each of the components are now in their rightful position. So have a good look at it. Okay, so we're going to now run it and see how it looks like. Run, and let's display all of the data and click on this valid data here. There we go. Okay, that is fine. Alright, I will now need to take care of delete, update, and reset and search. So let's exit out. Okay, the first thing is I'm going to create another function right underneath here. Let's create that right underneath here. Press enter, and in there I'm going to call it define function delete. Delete data, right there. And inside delete data, all I'm just going to enter is, I can just copy one or two stuff here instead of typing. Okay, let's copy this and okay, that's all I can copy there. Paste that in here, and the next thing I would like to do is I'm going to get the name of my data of my backend file itself. That is the name of my backend file. Copy that, come right down here, paste that in there. Dot, I'm going to call it delete record. So delete record will be the next function I'm going to create inside my data. So I'm going to call it I think it's SB. My global variable is called what? SB. That is correct. Look at it right here. Okay, which means it can be used within any components. Okay, SB, that's the value that will be inside my parameter, and that will be 0. Close that. So what about the clear? Let's see. Have I created clear there? Yes, I have clear data. So I'm going to call clear data. Let's call clear data in there. And yeah, just call clear data. Clear data. What about display? Let's see. I have display data as well. I'm going to call display data as well. Clear data and display data there. Of course, this is not going to do anything for now until, let me copy this first and call it inside my command button here. Command button delete. I'm just going to come in here, press enter, comma, press enter, command equals delete. Alright, now that is called. Okay, the next thing is to actually write a function. This function is going to be known as delete record. Copy delete record and come right in here. Okay, bring it down here. Yeah. this function is going to be known as function. And what I want you to do is as follows. So it's going to be, I want you to delete from here. Okay, copy that and just paste that right in there. And all I just need to do now is to change the query itself. So that will be delete from, get rid of the star, delete from book, library book, where, let's say ID equals, and that's it. Let's say comma ID. You must enter a comma here. There we go. That's it. And this fetch, we have to get rid of that and enter. We want it to comment actually. There we go. And that is the delete. So I've already called the function in here. Before we run it, there must be ID here. Yeah. Okay. Else it won't take on any parameter. Let's save it as well. File, save, and let's come in here now. Test it out. There we go. Display, and let's delete some of this garbage in here. Let's see. There we go. 1, 2. That's fine. You see that, guys? Delete is working. And let's delete this one as well. That's rubbish. Yeah. Okay, my delete works, guys. Okay, I'm going to write 2 more functions, one for update data and one for search. So let's assume we add more data in here. So let's go for type. In this case happens to be student. I'm going to enter some valid data in there, and the title is Mace, and the name is Grace South End. Address of Mid South End is 4 Rich Close. Okay, address number 2, let's say Hall, and mobile number. Okay, those are the other data centers. So if I click on add, so we have that in there, and we can view both data, select anyone. So let's go in there and complete these 2. Alright, I'm gonna have to speed it up because of time, so let's exit out. Yeah. Okay guys, let me show you the codes. In here I have the function, the 2 functions for search data and update data. So let's increase that so that you see that. And those are the function right inside the database itself. Okay, and that is supposed to be the back end there. That is for the search function, and these lines of code are for the update function. So have a good look at it, and in fact have a good look at all of the codes that make up the back end. Bring it down, and there. Okay, minimize that. And for the front end, the main system itself, here are the lines of codes for the search function and for the update function. And there. And up here, because my database has such names, so I decided to comment it all out, the meaning of each abbreviation. So what I'm going to do now is I will run the program and you guys see it. But for your information, you do need to understand this abbreviation for my database, because this is how I've named all of the database. Okay, and let me show you guys the search function again. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you guys is where I call those two functions, the search database and the update. Scroll right down where I have my buttons right there, and I have the search here, and right here I have the update. Okay, so I'm now going to run it. So have a good look at where I call it. So this is the front end, like I said earlier on. Just have a good look at it. For those of you who are member of my channel, you can always put in your request if you want the lines of codes. So to be a member, all you need to do is to pay £4.99, and you will be a member of the channel. So that will help with the development of the channel and buying equipment. So let's run it now, guys, and see how it works. There we go. And for your information, there will be more database tutorial on Python. So if you want, we can add any data in there. Let's add whatever we want in there. That we will get rid of because it doesn't make sense. And we also, okay, add. There we go. We can display the data, we can clear, and we can search. Let's search for NAS. Use the search engine. There we go. That's NAS information. Okay, and you see how the search works. Alright, so we can clear and display all of the data, add more information, and this very one, let's get rid of that. So go to delete, hit delete. You see that is gone. So with that, guys, I'm going to call it the end of this tutorial. I suppose you guys enjoy it, and you all have a nice day now. Bye for now.